All right. There's been all sorts of comments because, of course, the game one being of the magnitude that it is against the national champion and against most likely the best coach in the history of the game, that all sorts of Miami fans in comments, both that we've both seen, Wholesome One in the live chat, and then also to the various videos that come in, and a number of comments that come into the live stream after the live stream posts. A lot of Miami fans are taking offense to this thought that this is an automatic loss. Now, we've both stated, and I think we're both in the same territory, that it's not an automatic loss. Miami's going to go out there and compete. Miami's got a top 15 football team. It's possible that they could win the game, but it's not likely. Any reasonable person knows that it's not likely. So I'm going to combine the comment by right here in the live chat, and we can kind of tag team our opinions on this, because you got Dean here, and I've got a comment coming in from Eric Smith as well. So I'm going to start with Eric, move to Dean that's more specific, because Eric kind of represents tons of comments that came in concerning this Miami-Alabama game and the Canes' chances of winning. Can either of you give a football reason as to why you think this Alabama team this September will defeat Miami? A football season, not their name or past, not their coach because he doesn't play or even call plays. And then we'll hit more particular and specifically the trenches.
Okay. A football reason. So what happens a lot in this game is it's 11 on 11. And in certain instances, the game has now creeped to truly being 11 on 11, because for the longest, it was 11 on 10. Here's why I say that. The quarterback is a position where it was very, very dependent on getting the ball to other people, but depending on the offensive line and depending on the quality of the people that he was throwing the ball to, okay, they had to really put the game in other folks' hands, literally put the ball in someone else's hands to help them lead to a victory, right? About mid-90s, late 90s, there was a guy at Nebraska. Okay, Mark, you know where I'm going with this. Tommy Frazier?
Yes, sir.
Now, there have been mobile QBs before this, but that option and the fluidity of the option, it just hadn't been done like that to that level, okay? Now, that style of offense really opened it up to what would happen. And it was a very common thing. But what would happen if you had someone with the style and the athleticism and the ability of a running back or wide receiver starting with the ball in his hands and being able to pull that thing and let it fly, okay? But what happens when you make it 11 on 11 is now everyone has to make sure that we keep an eye on the QB, but we also got to make sure we're doing our job with who we're covering or whatever zone and things of that nature. But I say all that to say this, Mark. In 2021, this is a true 11 on 11. And a lot of the talent across all of college football is somewhat similar. But as of late, for the last decade, it's been focused to about one conference or so. And then now it's even streamed from just that one conference to just a couple teams, where the best of the best would go there. And now the pool is so small at some of these other institutions where you just got the biggest 5 stars who go to the handful of teams, and the rest go to about the high 4 stars, mid 4 stars, 3 stars. They go to some of those top 10, 15, 12, 18 squads, okay? What we're dealing with right now is a team that has a couple 5 stars on it, majority middle of the road 4 stars, and to me, way too many 3 stars. But we were rebuilding. I mean, we were just losing a lot to Tech, Duke, and FIU. Okay, we're trying to pull it back together. Lining up against a collection of talent that has been pulling in 5 stars for 12 years. Now, he said exclude the coaches, exclude the programs. He wants a football answer. I will give you a simple football answer. It's going to take great leadership, and playing at a very high percentile for the Miami Hurricanes to be able to pull this game out with a dub. Now, does a win. Does that mean that this is not going to happen? No. Does that mean that it is probable that it happens? The answer to that is also no. But at the end of the day, when you have one of the best or the best at almost every single position going up against some underdogs, and in some instances, some of the best on the other side of the ball, when they line up against each other, the culture in those locker rooms is going to come out. It's going to come out. What happens to an Alabama squad? Let's go back to Ole Miss. When Ole Miss was going up and down the football field on these folks, what did they do? They got on that sideline, they pulled it together, and they really worked on going out and getting that W. But it was about the young men on that football field making plays when an opportunity presented itself, or you go out and you make your opportunity. You take that destiny. You take and make your own destiny. But that's because that's the culture that's in that locker room. You talk about the 2000, 2001, the 99 Canes, the old Canes. That type of mentality was in that locker room. And that's why I understand people's viewpoint of it. It doesn't matter who the coach was when it was about Miami, because we had the best players, we had the best locker room, and we had one of the greatest coaches in college football history. And they went out there and took it and made their history. All we can hope is that the Miami Hurricanes in 2021 have a similar mindset, because I don't want them to be those old Canes. I want them to be themselves. But you have an opportunity on a stage like this, when everyone's paying attention, to go out there and make your own history and to take it. And I understand once you walk in between those white lines, the people on the sideline, they can help, but they can't make the play for you. So what happens if we get Cam Harris, we block it up perfectly, and it's an open gap? Are we going to shoot it and score the touchdown, or are we going to go down from an ankle tackle? What happens if Nestor Silvera shoots an A gap and he gets an opportunity one-on-one with the back? Does he bring him down, or is he out there trying to slip and grab an ankle and hopefully the dude goes down? The opportunities are going to be there. If you're wide open as a wide receiver and I'm De'Aaron King and I get the ball to you, are we going to bring it in? Whether we score with it or whether we just make sure we secure the ball and get the first down, that's up to you. But X's and O's wise, that's up to the coaches. But as far as will, as far as want to, as far as talent, when they step between those white lines, Miami's going to have its opportunities. Are we going to take advantage of them?
Here's my addition to that, which was eloquently stated, definitely. When you talk about name, brand, image, all of that, does it mean something when those guys hit the field? I'm going to say yes, and I'm going to say no. Obviously, they start to pop heads, and all that matters is the athleticism, the speed, the size, the will, the determination, the execution, the preparation that's been put into that game. Doesn't matter what their names are on the back of their jerseys or their helmets or anything like that, unless it does mean something. So if you're talking about, is Florida State 2021 what Florida State was 2013? No, they wear the same uniforms. They get the same name, the same brand, the whole deal. They're completely different programs run by different people, different players, not even close. Is Iowa State in 2021 the same Iowa State that it was in 2016, 2017? No. They're a nationally ranked top 10 team that won a Fiesta Bowl, that took Oklahoma within a score of Big 12 championship with one of the best coaches in the country. Now, 3 or 4 or 5 years ago, they were winning 2 and 3 games a year. Same color, same brand, same image. It's Iowa State football, but it's different. Okay. The consistency at Alabama is that Nick Saban is a national championship game winning coach, and he's been there for 13 years. And so the history, the past does matter because it's still relevant and still in place now. Mm-hmm. The Florida State example, the Iowa State example, those are completely different programs and teams than they were just 3 and 4 years ago. Mm-hmm. Alabama, though, they've got a history in this game, meaning a neutral site game against a big non-conference opponent. West Virginia, Clemson, Virginia Tech, Michigan, Wisconsin, USC, Florida State, all those teams. they blew them out. And some of those teams were really good. The USC team won the Rose Bowl that year, was a top 3 team in the nation. The Florida State team was coming off a really good season, had the potential to be really good, was ranked preseason number 3, on and on. Wisconsin was really good.
Arguably been number 1, number 2.
Yes, none of those teams, none of those games were 1-score games even. Alabama beat them all by at least 2 scores, usually 3 and 4 scores. So Alabama, then if you want to speak to the present, Eric, this Alabama defense is almost the same defense that played last season. They're almost bringing back their entire defense. Yes, they lose some great players, as they always do, to the NFL. Too much is being made of them losing some tremendous star players. But everybody focuses on quarterback, running back, wide receiver, because those are the guys that handle the ball that everybody watches. And I get that. They lost one of the greatest players in the history of college football, Devontae Smith. It's remarkable. They have a wide receiver room that is loaded with talent, but they're largely unproven, other than John Mechie. Slade Bolden played some last year, caught about 25 passes, but Jameson Williams comes in from Ohio State. So we've just seen this over and over and over and over. Yes, they have a combination of a lot of great players and good players that are coming back. And sure, they've lost a lot. They always lose a lot. But until I see something different, I'm going to expect Alabama to be one of the 3 or 4 best teams in the country, if not the best team in the country.
Mark, it's wild, man. I get a lot of flack for it, and that's okay. But so I'm not necessarily surrendering this game. I just understand what we're going up against, and all we can do is hope and pray. You know, I'm not here to kiss anyone's ass. Like, it doesn't give me anything to kiss Coach Saban and his staff and kiss them up. They don't even know who I am. That doesn't matter to them. Okay, but what I am saying is we aren't there as a program. We just aren't right now. Some of the ones who were there got on this field with them, and now, are there a whole bunch of question marks when it comes to Alabama? Yeah. But for Miami, we got to worry about our stuff. We got to get a lot of our stuff in order. And yes, are we one of the most talented teams in the ACC? Second or third? Some instances you could say second, because North Carolina lost a lot. But a lot of those guys are freshmen and sophomores. Vontae Williams, James Williams, Leonard Taylor. Yeah, those are freshmen. Those are all freshmen who are coming in, and our coach has shown a way of favoritism to where we won't even see those young men for a little bit. So
I'm looking at the Athlon's national rankings for each individual unit. Now, is Athlon's perfect? Of course not. Are they going to miss it on some of these? Of course. The rankings aren't perfect. We just talked about preseason rankings. But most of this is based on fact, and it's based on track record, and it's based on evaluation of talent. Mm-hmm. Quarterbacks. Miami, the 4th best quarterback room in the country, according to Athlon's. Alabama 6th. Okay? Mm-hmm. Other than that, running backs. Alabama number 1. Miami not in the top 10. We could argue that because they're certainly close. Receivers, Alabama number 2. Miami not in the top 10. Offensive line, Alabama number 2. Miami not in the top 10. Defensive line.
Wait, what? Oh, let me guess. Who could be number 1?
Offensive line?
Number 1 is Notre Dame? No. Georgia? No. No. Ohio? Who's number 1?
Athlon's has Ohio State 1, Alabama 2, Georgia 3, Clemson 4.
I knew it, Ohio State.
Defensive line, Alabama number 4. Miami not on the list. Linebackers, Alabama number 1. Miami not on the list. Defensive backs, Alabama number 1. Miami not on the list. Now, again, are these rankings perfect? Of course they're not. But do they mean something? Yes, they do. That's been proven over and over and over. Okay.
Lewis Papp says, quick celebrating individual achievements with the turnover chain. So you're going to tell Alabama to stop celebrating with the turnover belt?
We've had some interesting discussions about the turnover chain.
Hey man, listen, the turnover chain, it's big, man. It took over sports for a while, and still to this day. I mean, people knock home runs in the MLB and they put a chain on them. So I'm just saying, if you want to call Miami irrelevant, that's on you. But it's we started that, and then all these props followed behind it, which had some semblance of doing this motion over someone's neck when an individual thing happened to them.
This is what I'll say is that you and someone else have educated me to fill in some of my ignorance. I'll use that word. I will call myself ignorant or uninformed if that's the case on certain aspects of the turnover chain. So I've gained some level of respect for the turnover chain. Do I like the turnover chain? Not necessarily. It's not my thing. I'm a 53-year-old guy, but it shouldn't be my thing. Those are 18 to 22-year-old guys. So I realized that means something more to them that I would have probably been excited about when I was 20 years old too. So I'm watching the game through 53-year-old eyes. It's a culture thing and it's an age thing. And the only criticism I have of it is, I don't know, once you implement something like that, what do you do with that when you're down 42 to 10 and you intercept a pass?
You put it on.
Because it just seems to be something that should be connected to winning.
Oh, and like, I'm with you, but to me, I think when you put things like that, it has to be a part of your program, win, lose, or draw. You know, we've been doing it since 2017. We haven't had much success since 2017. But even in 2018, we wore it. 2019, we wore it. In 2020, we wore it. Those things like that have to be a part of your program. If you're going to make it a marquee of your program, the lunchbox at Virginia Tech, hard pail, whatever crap, that's their thing. Now, did the media and the portrayal of it to where you turn around, because they turn around and put it in the air to their fans, but do the cameras always catch that? No, because it's just a thing that they do. Now it's gotten like that with Miami. They'll show a quick glimpse of it. Hey, got the turnover chain, and then go right back because it's a part of our program. When it first came out, we almost had to take a time out because the cameras, the focus was whoever had on that chain, and it was right in your face. And I get it. For the Miami haters, it was bothered. Oh, I hate that chain. It's disgusting. I get it. But we were undefeated, so we loved it. And it felt like it did have powers for a while, man. You know, we felt we fell off of that, and that energy when the crowd would go nuts, or when you're on the road and you just needed it came through for us. But again, like I said, it's a part of our program. Win, lose, or draw, you got to be able to hang with it.